this is always that awkward moment where we'll have a few seconds where we're actually live, and it'll say, "Oh, you're already live." So hold
I
on.
do it all the time. I'm well familiar with it.
There's always, so we apologize ahead of time. There's this awkward kind of like second to see that we're live. And it looks like we are. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to stop that one so it doesn't interrupt us. Because that's the other problem, is when you get that going. Okay, cool. Got that one gone. All right, and then I'm going to record. So here we go, and let one more person in. And here we go. Okay, well, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so happy to have time with you today. I mean, what a treat. What a treat to have a Robert Meche from actually the Dallas area, right? You're in Frisco, but Robert and I met, gosh, it's been a couple years now that we were connected, right? And so I'm so excited to have you today on Playing to Win, because you are such, just number one, you're a great guy. You're just an awesome human being. Let's just put that out there, okay?
Right back at you.
Hey, you are awesome. But you have a great story. And I think one thing I want to talk about, playing to win, the whole concept behind playing to win is that, 2020 was a lot of playing not to lose, right? We all had that in our lives. And so we have to do things differently. And now we're actually seeing some changes with, people are getting their shots and kind of things are reopening, and people are excited to, like Red Day last week was amazing that we got to see people and be together. It was just extraordinary. So, and yet it's still a different normal for us today, right? So it's a different market. It's a different everything. And so I think so much of what we do is we have to always be looking, am I playing to win, or am I playing not to lose?
Right.
Right. So that's what the creation of this, I started this in January, and every week I get to talk to somebody, and it's so much fun. And I'm so honored. You are somebody that just screams playing to win to me. Well, so let's talk about a little, why don't you share your story? I think that's a fun way to kick us off into this session, and we'll start Q&A, and then at the end we'll open up for questions, guys. So here we go.
No, and I love all the questions that you were kind of set to talk about today, because I love every answer to them. I think a lot of people have heard my story before, so I always try to make it briefer these days, or more brief, because some of them know me. But I started with Keller Williams 20 years ago. Previous to this, I was a senior vice president of finance and accounting at Foot Locker, Foot Action USA, Just for Feet, and I spent some time there, and eventually Just for Feet disappeared. So I found my way into real estate. I backed my way into real estate. Real estate was not supposed to be my career. I don't think anybody ever knows what their career truly is until it actually happens. So I backed my way into it. I started at Keller Williams in the Dallas area about almost 21 years ago now. I spent 5 years there. I was always very fortunate. I started in an office that was a strong nucleus of some real power agents, in that Flower Mound office, you had people like Holly Perry, Ann LaCosta, the Rhodes team, Striegel, Bueller. These are massive names in the industry. So we kind of got in there. I spent 5 years there. I did fairly well. I went ahead and decided to start my own brokerage. So I ran an indie brokerage. I never thought it would grow to what it did. I think at our height, we were probably at 175 agents. And the brokerage is just the shortened name of what we go by now. We went off the SWR group today, but that's short for Small World Realty. That was the name we went with years ago. And it became a very good niche for people that were not only full-time agents, but especially part-time agents. I have a very strong place in my heart for part-time agents, because that is in fact how I got here. I am one of many out there that have to do it part-time to be able to get started, support a family, and do it. Real estate does take a little time to get going. And I think the hardest part for most agents out there is that they don't realize that the first year or so, it's okay to be slow, because there's a huge reward if you stick it out. The biggest tragedy in real estate is the people we lose inside of a year. I'm like, you haven't even started yet. How did you make that decision?
All that work is not
all
even
that work,
allowing it
all
to
the paperwork,
right?
all the paperwork alone that you had to fill out. Why would you just let it go? So, we became a really good place for people. 3 years ago, I started realizing that I could not offer my agents everything that they needed. And that was very hard on me. I'd always prided myself on being able to give my agents absolutely everything. I always claimed that we had the better of everything out there. And that just wasn't true 3 years ago when the technology shifted and changed. And you have the entrance of, disruptors like Open Door. So now I've got people that say they can buy houses and mine can't. So I start losing some deals there. Then I've got, mega tech giants like Redfin and Zillow come in. They say they're going to compete in the market. They're going to throw money down my face. And, now they're able to offer, all these types of things. And for once, I just couldn't give my guys that. And there was only one place I knew that I could go back to and that had that. And it was so ironic that Gary Keller at the same time is creating these exact programs that I'm short. So it was a very good marriage to come back in. We've been back now for 2 years, and it's been nothing but a success story since we've been back in the Keller Williams world.
I love that, and I think you have such a great story because you are that perfect example of, you're being very successful, you're very humble, but up to 170 agents, that's a big deal, right? And big market share, do a lot of volume, not to play that down at all. And yet you knew you were out there struggling, and you were honestly, you're a play to win guy. So you didn't want to play not to lose, and staying independent and try, that would be really hard. And
well, I think the bigger issue there is where you have people that it helped me an analyst prior to this stuff. I mean, I took real estate no different than I did business and accounting. I saw what was coming forward. I saw it. It's kind of the equivalent of driving down the interstate and you see a really bad accident and the exit road's open, not the dirt or the grass or the people. I saw the actual exit. I was like, you know what? I probably got to get off this and move around it, because if I don't, I think I'm about to get stuck. And I think the hardest part for any indie firm, especially those of you who try to recruit indie firms, and any of our managers, team leads, and all that type of stuff, the hardest thing about an indie is they're very prideful as to what they have. They think that they've created something so superior and that it can't be repeated or bettered somewhere else, and it's just not true. They need it. They probably need it more than ever. I'm actually surprised that any discount brokerage or smaller brokerage these days can actually make it the way they need to. And that's a good point to make, because a lot of people in their minds are like, I'm doing well. I'm like, you're not. Like, you think you are, but you could be doing better.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest mistake that most independent brokers make, that they don't make the switch. Because if they figured it out, they most likely could run the same operation with just a couple of initials behind them, the greatest motivator in real estate of modern day industry, Gary Keller, right behind them. So why would you not do that, right?
Right. And I love that part of the reason you did it too was for your people, right? You did.
I did. It was all for my people. It had nothing to do with me. In fact, I always tell everybody that I actually had become comfortable, and I was comfortable with what was coming in, and I was comfortable with what was happening to me. But I saw that some of the agents it was not comfortable for. And that was a problem. If they can't be comfortable, then we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that was absolutely true.
Yeah. So some of you watching this live stream might recognize Robert he's been interviewed by Gary on stage at the last family reunion we had in person, right? That we sure miss it this year, but and just different interviews. But he has such a great story and such a great guy. So you brought 130, 150 people back to KW. And that's where we got connected, because you also had people in Austin and you joined our Northwest location with your expansion team. So you're already thinking, you already had that expansion idea in your head. You're already playing to win and not saying, I'm just going to stay in the Dallas area, right?
Yeah.
You're already in Austin. So I just love that synergistic mindset. You also, don't you have a radio show or?
I do. I have a radio show that we do. We've been doing for 3 years now. We do it live on Thursdays at noon religiously. We rarely miss a show, and it's really great because it's a live radio show, but it goes on to podcast. And most of our views are podcasts. Very few people can take time just like you. Most of your views are later. It's on record, which is great. Either way, we want them to see it, but the show is very educational. I don't think there's any episode we've ever done that doesn't actually contribute to someone's knowledge, especially if they're inside their first 5 years. Right. I mean, honestly, I'm biased towards the show because it's mine. I don't care about ratings or what it watches, but anybody who's new, I promise you can go back 3 years. You're going to learn something in every one of those segments. And
absolutely, you're really an educator at heart. You really are. You're always education first and educating. I love that about your leadership.
Well, me and your team lead over there share something in common. We both have been at Champions. That's been something I've been a part of for, it's close to 15 years now. So yeah, the education part comes easy to me with the amount of students we've seen through there.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Okay, let's jump into the mindset of playing to win. What is that, like, playing to win look like for you?
Well, for me, when you start talking about, we set all these goals. So many people everybody talks about setting goals, and that's anything any business ever talks about. And I always think the biggest failure in that is that the goals are not, if they're not attainable and they're not realistic, it just doesn't make much sense to me as to why we set those goals. So we try very hard when we're talking with our crew, especially on an individual level. We want their goals to be attainable. We are not, and maybe we have that luxury because we're not a corporation that has to set goals that are financially driven. We're setting goals that are driven for their success. And to me, if we don't make that attainable, then that's not a problem. Corporate can be so evil at times, corporations in general, where they set goals, they're just like, you'll never get that, because they don't want you to bonus at that. That's not what we're doing with our crew. We want them to have goals that we're like, you should be able to do this, and we can help you do this, but you have to show your effort on what we're giving you. So for me, the winning side of it is those goals have to be realistic and attainable. They have to be doing, and I always combo that with, and it's the most important thing to me, and anybody who knows me knows this, and attitude's everything to me. I don't care what problems you have. I don't care how low you've gone. I don't care how high you are. If that attitude is not where it needs to be every single day, we are wasting time, like valuable time. Life is way too short to be miserable. It's way too short to complain about things. And hey, look, I'm no different than anybody else. I have my problems. We are all broken some different way. And I assure you, if I had the attitude that kept me down like that, I would not be as happy going as I look most of the time. I put it aside and I focus on trying to do the best that I can with what I have, and having that right attitude. And to me, that is what makes our guys win, is that we can set the same things into them.
I love that. I love that so much. And by the way, before we get too deep into this, one thing I wanted to let the team know that's watching, our viewers, you have Smoker Broker on your shirt, and everywhere Smoker Broker. Tell us what that is real quickly.
So I love it when I do get interviewed a lot, and I love it when somebody asks me that, because it's always such a, it's a cute story, I guess. So I guess it's kind of embarrassing too. So I don't have many outlets, but I'll play cards with a few people once every 2 months or so. And it's regular group. So a while back, we were at a card table and I came in and someone was like, oh, hey, you're that smoker guy. And then somebody at the other end of the table goes, I thought you were a broker. And then someone said Smoker Broker, and it stuck for all these years. So
I love it. Well, you're also competitive,
I am. And so they were right. They were both right. So I am on a competitive smoking team. It's probably, I would call it a semi-pro team. We do it for fun more than, it's funny. I get, everybody always asks me how the restaurant's going. I'm like, I don't do any type of restaurant or catering. I do maybe 4 or 5 events a year, because that is all the time we can muster into it. It's funny. We were at, I just got back from Kansas City, and we were at a foundation for Neil Smith, who's a big Kansas City professional football player out there. And he was doing the Derek Thomas Foundation. That's Third and Long, great foundation out there in Kansas City. But I have so many people that come up to me and like, well, where's your restaurant at? Because I wear this, you're going to see this anywhere I go.
Right.
I co-brand quite a bit with SWR. Right. And it's funny how many people ask that. I go, that is not what I do. But I have a whole stack of people who are professional barbecue guys that were at the tournament asking me if I'd catch up with them. So it's funny how many people mistake that. And sometimes
I saw you with a big trophy the other day.
Yeah, I was so happy. I got back, and we finally 2 weeks ago had our first competition in probably a couple of years, and we won the grand championship down there for Wild Game in Galveston. So we were super excited about that. It's always nice to win.
Well, when I first heard the name Smoker Broker, I just thought you were really good at real estate because you were like so hot at writing deals. And so it was so funny
the funnier one to me is the people that think that I get the barbecue thing, and then I get the they think we run some type of vape store or something. We had our when we trademarked Smoker Broker, the PA that was writing it, she calls the attorney. She's like, I'm really not comfortable that we're doing this for this guy that's selling weed. And she's like, he's not selling weed. He's doing something far different. So we get a little bit different.
Maybe if you were in Colorado or California,
I'm sure we do well there.
You would do great. Keep the name for your expansion teams out there, right?
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so tell us, what do you think is the most important thing an agent can do in the market right now? I mean, we are in a competitive market.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I mean, your life right now as a real estate agent should be revolved around doing whatever you can to get listings. And, I say that because I'm always the opposite. I'm open on, there are a lot of people that like to specialize in one or the other. I think all agents should be generated as a whole, good listing agents, good buyer agents. But right now, more than ever, have I told the crew, I'm like, look, whatever it takes. I'm not saying ignore buyers. We still have to deal with our buyers. We still have to try to service them the best that we can, even though it's very difficult in almost every market that we compete in. But I tell them they should wake up and they should go to bed. If they're serious about real estate, what can I do to pick up a listing today? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? And what are some of the unique things I need to do that can be different so that we can get in there and get that business? And really, as many things as there are in real estate, our lives are really focused on that right now. Everything we do, our team meetings, that's all we talk about right now.
Yeah, so because my next question is, what are you doing differently? So have you just shifted all efforts towards listings? So like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so you got to get to where you start thinking outside the box in a market that this competitive. You have way too many outstanding agents out there to go head to head and do the same things with them. Even in any market that we serve, even in my own market centers that I'm at, I've got so many outstanding. I mean, even in Austin, you got like a Victor out there. You're standing in awe of him because he's so fantastic. And you're small to him, and this guy's out there all the time doing the right things. You've got to do something different. Of course, me and Victor don't compete really. We're the same organization, but we're still doing the same things to be different. If you can't do something like that, if you're going to try to do the same thing as someone like him, good luck. He is way too good to go head to head or toe to toe with him. So we have to do things different. So there are millions of things we can talk about, but one of the unique things that we've been pushing, and I've been very happy with it, especially recently, because they're finally getting results. There's nothing like getting results from people doing things that they didn't believe would work. But we've been pressing to them about doing things like where they go into a event that's out there. So let's say there's some type of local event, a big event, and thank God those are back into, we're actually seeing those now. We tell them to go in there, ask the sponsor, hey, look, what can I do? I want to buy a huge prize for somebody. I'm talking like something that's $1,000 to $2,000. We want to raffle it off to whoever puts tickets in there. The only thing that we want is we want the contacts, the names and the numbers of the people that put in that box, because we know that if they really want to win something of that extravagance, they're actually going to give us a real number and they're going to give us a real name. And for me, and this is something that's awkward about me, because I'm not the biggest cold caller. I've never liked it. That does not mean anybody's watching. We want you out there doing it. I have never.
With the do not call list. That's
off the do not call. Let me tell you, of all the market centers, you guys are by far the best when it comes to telling people about the do not call list. Nobody ever says anything about that. And your hand hurts so hard if it ever gets slapped with a do not call. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan myself, but when those people, if they want something from us and they wanted to put their name in it, I don't have any problem calling somebody like that. They basically invited themselves. If they wanted something significant from us, I don't have a problem. We have generated tons of names doing that. And I'm so happy because even some of my new agents recently did it. I mean, I'm talking like a month into it. I was so proud of them. They spent the money. 3 of them went in on it. They raffled off one of those Easton bats for a softball tournament. So one of the excessive nice bats. I think they got like 40 or 50 names, and someone actually called them a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, because all of those names are game for their database. Those names could come up 15 years from now, but they already saw immediate results. That's one of the million things that we do. We're trying to do something outside the box. We do not want to do the same thing. ever.
Yeah, I love that so much, you know, and that what a great investment, right? I mean,
It
people pay
is.
for leads like crazy for these cold internet leads, and yet they can be in a room and have this giveaway, and it's a totally different conversation when it's that. I agree.
You spend $1,000 or $1,500 on something that is geared towards that particular event, and you would have spent probably 4,000 on getting even close to that amount of names. Those names in there are much more hot and valid than the names you pulled off of just some purchasing thing. So yeah, I'm very big on that.
Yeah, I love that because those people know other people, and it goes on and on. It's just exponential, right? Okay,
Right.
so you talked about sellers, that you're really focused on sellers, but you still work with buyers, and your
Oh
agent
yeah.
work with buyers. So how are you preparing buyers differently in this market to win?
So, I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to combine them, the sellers and the buyers, because the answer is somewhat the same, but I'll gear it towards which one we're talking about in there. Right now is the greatest amount of time you ever had to have experience in real estate. Now, look, I say that very carefully. For any of the people out there who are fairly new, including my crew as well, that's not a shot towards you, because I'm about to offer you pretty much an olive branch to tell you, hey, look, I can help you with this, like in my crew. But right now, if you don't have at least 10 to 15 years of experience, it can be very difficult negotiating and dealing with what's going on. And this is why I tell you that, because even for me, and even for someone like you, if that stuff comes in, this market right now is changing literally every day. In Austin, I can have an agent tell me, hey, look, they're bidding 100K over right now. And in normal markets, we would have been like, don't ever go 20 or 30K over that. We have to be very careful as to what we tell those agents to put the offer on, because right now, more than ever, we could cost somebody 20 to 30,000 if we're not being careful. If we just tell them, if we throw an arbitrary amount out there because we're trying to be competitive, we might not have had to have been so aggressive, but we have to balance the line. If we weren't aggressive enough, we lose it. It is by far the most difficult market I've ever been in, because I actually have to use my experience to say, I'm not so sure that that's the right thing. And we in our group, we do it individually with each agent. We tell them before they put the offer in, I'm like, look, I want to see it. I go, I want to see it. I want to hear what it is. I want to know what it is. And I want to know what you're up against, because I cannot give you the advice unless I know what's out there. So for me on the buy side right now, we're very careful. And this isn't just market centered. Now it's become subdivision centered. Now I have to know the subdivision in the area and make sure before we put that offer in, that might not be the same as the neighborhood over versus this one on what I tell them to do. So it is very difficult. And if you're new, that's okay. You just have to have the management and the team leadership, which we had in Austin, all of our, because you guys are so lucky in Austin. I mean, I tell everybody, you have no idea the management structure that you have. I mean, I have familiarity with a lot of people throughout the country. You guys are so fortunate in that one center of the people. You have so many people you can go to get answers. And that's so valuable right now, because you have to have it. Because if you don't, you're going to make a mistake. You people who are new, if you're out there taking a shot on your own without asking somebody right now, I just don't know. That might be a tough one for you out there. So we're very careful on the buy side, and we spend all of our time educating them. Your question was educating them. We tell them before we go out there, we set the expectations. We flat out tell them, look, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to see. You have to be prepared to do a couple things. We're going to tell you right now, at a price point of under 300K, you better be prepared to be at 50 to 100K over. And not only that, you probably need to be prepared to guarantee that appraisal. It sickens me. It makes my stomach hurt to tell somebody that, because some of those people can't do that. And I think that's been the hardest thing for us, but we educate them.
It's heartbreaking because you know they don't have it. So, but at the end of the day, you're just being honest with them, right? And setting them up for these are the rules of the game right now.
I had to tell a personal friend, a lifelong friend the other day, I'm like, I'm not so sure I can help you right now. I'm going to, and I'm do everything I can. I go, but the reality is, I don't think this is going to work. I go, I'll work because that's what we do. We do work for nothing a lot of times. Sometimes we do have to work for nothing to set up something down the road. So I'll tell those people, I go, we're going to do it. I go, but I'd be lying to you right now if I really thought this was going to happen. Someone the other day asked me, they go, well, we're going to get our house sold in Kansas, and then we're going to come here. I'm like, I go, hold on. I go, do you have a place to stay here? They're like, well, we're going to buy a house. I go, yeah. I go, we need to talk about that. I go, it's very possible that you could be in an apartment or a weekly suites if you do that. They're like, what are you talking about? I go, I could not be more honest to you. I go, I'm telling you, it's 80% more that's going to happen versus 20% of you in the house. So we have to educate them on the buy side.
Yeah, big time. And especially, I love that you brought up the relocating. We're seeing so much growth in Austin. And it's crazy that all around the country, it's not just Austin, because I know we have friends watching from all over on these, but it's insane. And you have to you owe it to them, right? You owe it to them to,
you do.
I mean, even the rental market's crazy, right? It's tight, it's competitive. It's crazy the kind of rents that we're seeing right now. So you prepare them, you educate them, you say, I'm here to help you, but you know what? I don't know if this is your time, if you don't have the cash reserve. So it's a lot of educating. What about the sellers? How are you preparing your sellers differently in this market?
So sellers even more so now on the experience level, because you experience really two things with sellers. You experience one, we have to make sure we're accepting the right offer, right? And that entails, and I hate to say this too, but that entails too right now, sifting through if someone is being very honest with their offer. We are seeing way too many people throw out offers so they can capture the property and above everybody else, and then to go through it and sort through it and just back out of the option. And it pains me, but on a lot of ours, we've started insisting on that option better be excessively high depending on the volume, because we are not going to let them just come through. And I actually personally tell them, I'm like, I'm telling you right now, you better be serious about purchasing this house, because that option, it is going to be excessive, and I'm going to make sure that you're going to do it. So we have to educate our sellers that we're doing it differently than we used to. Okay. It's not the same game. I think another thing that's become very difficult is dealing with the seller that has become greedy. And it pains my heart, because I'm not like that. And I would never cheat anybody in my entire life, but we have sellers that are taking advantage of this in an ugly way. And it is very hard to serve them, because I work for them and our crews work for them, but it's very hard for me to be looking them in the eye when they're telling me to stick it to somebody. And I'm like, that's a real bad karma. I'm not talking from a religious standpoint. That's just a real bad flow. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not a superstitious guy, but I absolutely believe that. I do believe what comes around goes around. And, I will tell you one thing I've been successful at when I deal with someone like that. They'll tell me that, and I'll be like, hey, look, I just want to make sure, and you better answer honestly, because this is about to happen to you. If you were on the other side of that and that person did that to you, are you cool with it? If you tell me yes, you are, then I'm like, let's do it. Because if that's what you're going to be like, I promise you, when I help you on the other side, you're going to do the same thing you said you're going to do here. And a lot of times they back off on that because they're like, well, maybe that's not the right course. I'll tell you something else that's become difficult for agents when we're dealing with sellers, and this does fall into the education process. Not only do you have to be very knowledgeable of what the market is, what it will hold, and what your house is worth, but you also have to renew that the contract changes have changed in such a way that you can hurt your seller if you're not an expert in the contract. And I'm talking for a veteran agent. In fact, I'm talking more to a veteran agent now than I am a regular one. I see the contracts that come through my group. So I have a lot of contracts that come through in a day. It is amazing to me right now how many people have not picked up on that HOA document and HOA addendum, how they can painfully be hurting their seller if they are typically doing the regular review. The buyer puts in there and see that we'll give $50 to the HOA. If you haven't looked at the new changes on that, that's basically saying that that's all the buyer is going to do, and whatever else that HOA total is, that seller is stuck with it. There are some markets that we can cost our seller probably $3,000 to $4,000 if we don't know that that should be a much higher amount. Just those little things right now make it much more complicated. And that's why I continue to preach the stuff about the experience side of it. And if we're the experienced ones and we have people that are not experienced and they work with us, we have to share it with them so that they're just as strong, because they're not going to be able to do that on their own. Not yet, for sure.
I love that you brought that up, because, April 1st were a lot of changes, right, in Texas.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it is the more experienced ones sometimes that just have the habits, and we're moving so quickly and stuff like that. That's a really good point. And I often talk about, my career started in Reno, Nevada, 15 years ago as a new agent with no experience. But I always say that market being, 65% distress, short sales, foreclosures, it taught me how to play to win, like right out of the gate, right? Because I had to think differently. I had to know what the rules were. I had to understand what a short sale was, or foreclosure, or deed in lieu, and all that stuff. But what it taught me really quickly is, if I want to play to win, I got to master the game. And there were so many companies in our town that couldn't do that, wouldn't do that, right?
Well,
And
you
then,
know, that you share a sentiment that I have too. And, you know, I'm pretty adamant about it. I too have gone through some of the rougher markets. And in fact, my brokerage actually started when you were coming back into it. And I went through the same pains. We actually expanded in the downtimes. And if you start making excuses for downtimes, that's all it ever becomes. You have to get involved in those things. You have to be a part of it and say, I've got to be able to go through it. I've got to come up with something different or something new to combat those types of things. There's always something new. There's always something different. We have to be able to get through those things. And, you know, even COVID, you can look at COVID as, yes, it was weird that we actually expanded during that time. But I'll tell you, one of the toughest things that, well, always outside of the horribleness that some of our families have experienced. We're not talking about that. Everybody knows that that's been awful. The other side of COVID are the agents that have come through. We have agents right now that have been with us, and I'm talking in the industry as a whole, that have been with us for 3 or 4 or 5 years. They have not seen a normal market yet. They don't even have dogfighting skills. They don't even know how to negotiate on behalf of the seller when the seller is onto them about not selling their house. They don't even know how to do that right now. And some of them are becoming successful and they don't even know that. One of the biggest dangers is we're not sharing that information with these people. We're going to have a big problem in another 3 or 4 years when the market does shift back to normal. Some of those people are going to be like, you know, 20 million volume a year people and don't even know how to handle a seller that is saying, you're not selling my house properly, which is actually a common foundation of real estate 101. And they're not even doing that right now. So it's interesting the time period we're in, sharing that information. We have to keep them up to date. Because some of my guys will go through my training tutorials and they're like, that doesn't seem right for right now. I go, it might not be for right now, but historically it's absolutely correct. We have to train them and keep them in the perspective, you know?
Exactly. I love that so much. And there's always a skill that you're going to learn in every market. So I do feel like this market reminds me of the market I started in for that exact reason, because you got to up your game on the skill level.
You do. You have to up your game. You're right. You have to up your game. You cannot do the standard flow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so how about, what are you guys doing creatively to find more seller inventory? Anything?
It's hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. It's difficult. And we try to up the marketing that we do. We tried to distinguish ourselves. Again, kind of the same thing I talked about earlier, being different. Each of our mailers are, and when I say mailers, each of our marketing techniques that we do are all geared towards something that distinguishes us as different versus the other person out there. But in the end, we face the same problem that anybody else has, that they don't have anywhere else to go. I will say we have been trying to focus, and we have been successful to some extent, if you could judge that with the low amount of listings out there, in targeting the people that we don't even sugarcoat it. We flat out say, hey, look, if you're getting close to where you know you're about to sell your house inside the next 5 years, that you're ready to downsize or move on, retire, or go to something smaller, and you don't care that you might be homeless for a little bit, this is the perfect time for you. You are the person that should be selling your house right now. You should not be waiting. You shouldn't be waiting even 2 or 3 years. If you're going to do that inside of 5 years, your house very well could be worth the highest it ever is going to be in the next 30 or 40 years right now. So if I'm them, I would do it. We get a lot of deals from that. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. We get a good amount of volume from doing that type of attitude, because we're reaching the person that actually knows that this might benefit them. There are some people that benefit in a tight inventory market. I'm not talking about the average seller. I'm talking about the person that probably should be selling.
Yeah, and you know what you think about, there's a lot of money sitting in those homes that people that are in bad situations that might want to cash out and pay off their debt. You hear there's all kinds of scenarios and become.
So I love you for that. So last night, the meeting we had, the team meeting, that conversation came up. One of the fairly newer agents brought up, I had someone say, should I sit on my $1 million home, but we're going to leave in 3 years? And my answer was exactly that. I told them, look, if I'm talking to somebody, if they need to sell their house right now to pay off, just to just to sell it and hold money, I'm like, that's one thing. But if they're paying credit card debts and all that, those types of things, and excessive other things that are penalizing them, then I'd be like, you should do that. But someone who's here and they have 3 years out and they could absolutely move somewhere else, we'd say, do not wait. You should do it regardless. And if you have other problems that you need to pay off, then you should do that as well. Those are two things. I do believe there are some reasons that you should sell your house and take a less of accommodation in the interim until something better comes up. I think that could be a reason for somebody to do the right thing right now.
I think it just gives people options, right? There's always an upside to every market, right?
There's
always there. You just gotta find them. Okay, so you tell us in your perspective, and then guys, get your questions ready. What do you think is going? What do you think you guys are doing really well?
So I think when we got to the thing that I think I find myself where we're rewarding are when we see the agents closing, when they're actually closing on the property, especially newer agents. I mean, I'm always grateful for the veteran agents getting their closes in, and they're keeping, most of the agents have kept their goals or done better in the last couple of years. But the new agents, especially, they're the first time they close, it's so great, because it's such an obstacle. There's nothing better than watching someone close in their first house. It's an acclamation to them that they can do it. It's an acclamation of self-confidence. It's something that's rewarding to them. And it's somewhat of a payoff for probably the last 8 to 12 months of work for them. And for us, to me, that greatest form of winning is seeing more of those people do that. And the more quality people we bring in and the more people that close, to me, that's where we really show victory in what we're doing. Because if we're not doing that, something is terribly wrong. If we're not getting them to close and successfully closing and establishing a career path for them, then we are ultimately failing. I have a lot of help and support from my director of ops. He runs a lot of those things for us. He's the one that pushes it. My wife co-owns the firm with me, and she does a lot of the back end, the accounting and the analyst side of it. And without those two things functioning and empowering, we cannot give the service that we need to those agents. And to us, that's winning, is making sure the support level is there for them to achieve those closes and do it in an efficient way that they were not scared.
I love that. And I think one thing I would agree with that on winning 100%. But then also one thing I think you do really well, though, is you keep educating, but you educate the community, right? You're educating the community through your show, which becomes a podcast. You do great on your marketing. Your smoker broker sticks, right? Yeah, you're just always putting yourself out there in different unique ways, and all ties together. So I think you're really good at that.
You said something too I like that a lot of people don't catch. We do the show that we do. A lot of times it is geared towards the general public. And a lot of times we will tell the agents that are watching, hey, look, if you have a seller that's having a difficult time, you should send them this part of the show saying, hey, look, you should watch this so you don't just hear it from me, you hear it from somebody else. We do try to help the general public. We do try to tell them there are do's and don'ts in this industry. And I think it's just as educational for them as it is for a real estate agent. So it is for both.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, HGTV got big for a reason, right? Like everybody wants to know about real estate and things like that. And I think you do a great job putting yourself out there, even though you're talking to agents mostly. But you do a great job just educating, and I think pulling consumers from that. I think you do a really great job at that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's see. Does anyone on our little studio audience here have a question for Mr. Robert? I love questions, as you know. I always expect them and love them. So please, somebody else.
You're better than me if you get them. It's hard to get them on.
It's hard to get them. I know, but we're going to get them.
You have a smaller audience. You have so many people that watch on archive that can't watch on questions. So
I know,
you can get them. I'm impressed. I have trouble getting them.
I know someone's going to ask something. So, okay, go ahead, guys. What you got? Anything you want. Doesn't have to be what I asked about. Okay, I know Mimi, you can ask something, or come on, guys. Don't fail me now.
Robert, thank you so much for doing this. It's amazing to hear your story. I would like to know, what are your top 3 lead sources that your team does to lead generate?
Yeah, so we go through the ugliness of a couple of outer bound referral networks, and not the big ones. We go through some smaller ones And just so I don't go name generating, you can text me and I'll tell you on the side there, but we use 2 of those like everybody else. I'm still not the biggest fan of that. Obviously, we were talking about earlier doing a lot of the sponsorship events where we bring a very significant award for somebody, trying to encourage those names to come through. And 3, probably most important to me, and I'm still a little old school that way, because I've always considered myself a transitional broker. I've been around long enough that I know the old way, the manila folder way, and the hitting the pavement way, but I've also tech savvy enough to pick up on how we do all the lead gens, the more the millennial way than anything. I can do both, but I still prefer the old fashioned networking. I am huge on networking. In fact, the hardest pain, again, outside the health reasons for COVID, was the lack of being able to get in front of somebody and talk to them like we do. So my higher volume agents, if they come to me in counsel and ask that they're struggling and they're not doing as well, which is like my number one priority when one of my top agents says that, the first thing I ask them is, well, how many networking events did you do this week? Not like this last month. My higher volume agents, my expectation for them, I don't make them. It's just if they're going to ask me, they're going to get a straight answer. My expectation for them is they better damn well have already done 2 events this week that they're supposed to be going to every week that someone's expecting them to go to. And then they better have done 3 just general ones in nature, just trying to find something that's new. So I still, even though the first 2 are strong, I still am big. I still get referrals from 20-year-old networking groups to this day. So
Wow.
for me, I'm huge on that. Huge.
That's great.
That's
Now,
amazing.
Mimi.
Sorry, I don't think that many agents do that. So you've definitely found your niche, right? You do, it works.
It
for
kills
you, and
me.
I think that-
It pains me. It pains me. I mean, even my own, and some of them are watching. And anytime they start asking me, that's the first thing I do. I go, how hard was it to go? I tell them the groups too. There's paid ones. Look, anybody, no matter where you are right now, if there's an IHOP, a Denny's, or some type of place that has a meeting room, I promise you, there's somebody meeting there once a week. All you have to do is go to that manager and ask them, hey, who meets back there? They'll be like, well, the net weavers are there Tuesday, 8 to 5. You just have to go do it. But the fact that they don't want to do it, I'm like, you can only go so far if you're not going to go. You have to network. You'll always reach a plateau. If you're not meeting new people, it'll be dead at some point.
Thank you.
I love
Anytime.
that. I love that. And I noticed that in your top 3, database was not in there. So these were 3 separate ways to grow the database, right?
And we track everything. We track everything. We give reasons for everything. And we keep up to date with what those reasons are. Even if it's a blank, it keeps going until we know where we're at with it.
Right. Perfect. Okay. So now, anyone else have a question? It's funny. I don't know if they're shy or if it's getting to unmute, but it is the conundrum of a small group. Brent, you look like a smart guy. Is there any question you want to ask?
Oh, I don't know if Robert wants me asking the questions that I could ask right now.
He's only the guy that runs the operations. He knows my weak points. So
He must be one of yours. Anything we should know about Robert that he's not mentioned?
You can tell him, Brent.
He
You can
rarely
tell him-
does barbecue for his friends, but when he does, it's damn good.
Brent, you can share with them my medical issues on task, how I get with you. That's okay if you want to.
Share your what?
My medical task when I start throwing things out, asking you to do more than that, you can tell them.
Yeah, I can tell when all of a sudden he's on his game and I get email after email after email, and just gets blasting through. And no, it's a great team to work for.
He's being polite. He knows that I'm on
am.
my ADD medicine when I do it. He can tell when I take it because he starts getting these tasks random back and forth. So yeah, he knows a lot about what we do.
Do not disturb.
Yeah. Bless you, Brent. So how long have you worked with Robert?
10 years, a little over 10 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So you were part of this transition back then and everything. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, you could call it Stockholm syndrome. I don't know what you would call it, but it's been well worth it all the way from the beginning. He was my instructor in real estate school, and I followed him right out. So you could just say I don't know any better.
well, you picked a good one. I'll tell you that because I know a lot of people. I've done this a very long time, and I know a lot of talent. You picked a great one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so no embarrassing moments or question for Robert. You're good?
I don't want to
I
get
wanna
fired.
let you
so I'm
know
good,
that-
yeah.
Robert loves cats.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Said that. Who is the person that said that?
Well, her name's hidden because her name
Yep.
says Robert Meche on it.
It's Cammy.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
Tammy.
she knows. Yeah, my wife has cats everywhere, and I certainly endure the cats. So yeah,
That is so funny. That is funny.
my
Okay,
crew likes to have some fun at my expense on the cats. That's for sure.
Now I know that. I did not know that about you. Okay. Any other question before we wrap up? Last chance.
Mindy, she sees too much of it too. Yeah, and my wife's pretty good with the notes and the cats. So anybody who follows me, they.
He loves the kitty. Mindy said he loves the kitties. That is so cute. I've never noticed the cats on your Facebook.
Oh, Melanie. Oh, yeah. They're teasing me because they know I have to.
He can't
endure it.
stand
I'm
them.
married. Yeah, I'm married into cats, so it's hard for me. I don't like cats in general, but I have to endure them, and everybody's pretty public about that with me.
Oh, that is pretty funny. Have you ever seen Mindy's kitty when like Meche Camp or something is coming up with the yeah?
I have.
That is
I think
funny.
that's why she endures my wife's cat. She likes those posts too.
No, I love it. I love it. That is so awesome. You know, Robert, you are just just a ball of energy, and it is such a great gift to have you at Keller Williams. And I'm just so grateful for you playing with us today, playing to win, of course. Any parting thoughts that you would like to share with everybody today? And thank you again for your time, for all of you who joined us. Any parting thoughts for the group today?
Yeah, just a gratefulness for being here at Keller Williams, and not the typical that everybody says. For me, it's more important with what I've done. I don't think anybody can appreciate being at Keller Williams as much as I have. I'm one of the few that can speak for being there before, going to do my own thing at a high level, I would consider, and bringing it back in, showing the importance of what Keller Williams does. The people that we're surrounded by are so encouraging. You know, it's so ridiculous to tell you that. You by far, you're so freaking contagious with the way you are about being positive. And, you know, there's so many people like you out there. Yeah, and Mindy as well, you know, she's out there too. These are people that are high level people. These aren't just people that are just doing the average thing. They surround you. They're your support group. You can go to them. You know, you can go to the echelons, and even though you're not talking to someone like Gary Keller, you really are talking to Gary Keller with people like through someone like Mindy, through someone like you. You're really still talking to them because you're able to attain those people because they're very common ground. And for me, that's something that's very grateful to have the supporting staff. All the marketing centers that we're at, the Cannon, Smokey Garrett's, all the Floods, all those people that we're surrounded by, Wendy Harrelson, all these people, every one of them is so enduring to us and welcoming. And to me, I don't know how you can do real estate anywhere else. I mean, I know, believe me, the competition extremely well. There's not one that I can't pick apart that wouldn't have everything that Keller does. So for me, it's really just those of you watching, there's not anywhere else you can go. You can think about it, you can have all these reasons, but in the end, you're as solid as you're going to be where you're at right now.
I love that. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for those kind words. You know, I always say, who you surround yourself with really matters. And, you know, when I moved to Austin 10 years ago, because I wanted to help grow KW in Austin, and I wanted to be closer to Gary Keller, that was my goal. And now I look at today where we all are and how we work as a team cohesively citywide. It's amazing to me, that it showed up differently. And I think of all the things I've learned from this company and the people that I get to work with every single day. I learn something every single day because of this environment that we're in. So being in business with people like you is just a highlight. And I just thank you for your time, and thank you for playing to win with us today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Good seeing you.
Go Smoker Broker.
We'll see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.